Lyudmila Pavlichenko. A lady in Red Army who alone killed 309 soldiers. She was Soviet sniper whose marksmanship and valor earned her legendary status. I will shed light on her extraordinary life. Here's a detailed outline of her biography. The formative years. Birth and early life. Lyudmila Mikhailovna Pavlichenko was born on July 12, 1916, in Bela Tserkva, a city in the Kiev Governorate of the Russian Empire, now Ukraine. Her childhood was marked by the everyday challenges of life in a developing region. But she grew up in an era of significant social and political change. Her father, Mikhail Belov, was a factory worker who later served in the Soviet military, instilling in Lyudmila a deep sense of patriotism. Her mother, Elena Trofimovna Belova, was a school teacher who emphasized the importance of education and discipline. Family and early influences. Lyudmila was the eldest among her siblings, with one younger brother and two sisters. Her parents, despite their modest means, valued hard work and instilled in their children the ideals of perseverance. Mikhail's stories about the army inspired Lyudmila's fascination with strength and precision. This early exposure to military life paved the way for her eventual path as a formidable sniper. The path to the Red Army. Education and skill development. As a young girl, Lyudmila attended school and was known for being outspoken and fiercely competitive. She participated in sports like running, gymnastics, and shooting, which honed her physical and mental prowess. By her teenage years, she had developed a strong interest in marksmanship and joined a shooting club, where she showed exceptional talent. Her interest in shooting was partly fueled by her desire to outperform a neighborhood boy who had boasted about his shooting skills, setting the stage for her lifelong commitment to excellence. Joining the Red Army. When Germany invaded the Soviet Union in 1941 during World War II, Lyudmila was a student at Kiev University, studying history. The Nazi invasion spurred her to volunteer for the Red Army, driven by a sense of duty to protect her homeland. Initially, recruiters suggested she take a role as a nurse, but her persistence led them to test her shooting skills. After demonstrating her remarkable accuracy, she was accepted as a sniper and became part of the 25th Rifle Division. Her military role and achievements. Her role in the Red Army. Lyudmila Pavlichenko quickly rose to prominence due to her exceptional skills. Her role as a sniper required her to spend hours, sometimes days, in concealed positions, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. This duty demanded immense patience, physical endurance, and strategic thinking. Specialty in her job. Lyudmila specialized in eliminating enemy officers and snipers, which had a demoralizing effect on the German troops. Her technique involved a deep understanding of camouflage, terrain, and the psychology of her targets. Pavlichenko's calculated approach and precision set her apart as one of the most effective snipers in military history. Confirmed kills and accuracy. Lyudmila's marksmanship was legendary. She is officially credited with 309 confirmed kills, including 36 enemy snipers. Her unparalleled accuracy and efficiency earned her the nickname, Lady Death, among her German adversaries. Her success rate was nearly flawless, reflecting her ability to identify and neutralize targets with precision. Ranks and promotions. Lyudmila started her military career as a private and quickly moved up the ranks due to her contributions. She was eventually promoted to senior sergeant and then to lieutenant. By the time she retired, she held the rank of major, a testament to her significant impact on the battlefield. Personal life and challenges. Romantic relationships. While serving in the Red Army, Lyudmila formed close bonds with her fellow soldiers. One of her most significant relationships was with a fellow sniper, Alexei Kitsenko, whom she planned to marry. Tragically, Kitsenko was killed in combat, leaving Lyudmila devastated but determined to honor his memory by continuing her fight. Her wartime experiences shaped her into a resilient but deeply introspective individual. Hobbies and interests. Beyond her military career, Lyudmila had the passion for history, which was reflected in her studies at Kiev University. She also enjoyed writing and later chronicled her wartime experiences in a memoir. Despite the chaos of war, she retained a love for learning and storytelling, which served as a form of solace during difficult times. War fronts and operations. Key battles and front lines. Lyudmila served primarily on the Eastern Front during World War II. She played a crucial role in the defense of Odessa, where she spent more than 2 months fighting fiercely against German and Romanian forces. Following the evacuation of Odessa, she was deployed to the siege of Sevastopol, where her reputation as a formidable sniper was solidified. Sevastopol's harsh and relentless conditions only seemed to fuel her determination, and it was here that she earned many of her confirmed kills. Injuries and recovery. In 1942, Lyudmila was wounded by mortar fire. Her injuries, while not life-threatening, were severe enough to take her off the battlefield, rather than fading into obscurity. This period marked the beginning of her next significant contribution to the Soviet war effort: diplomatic role and recognition. A wartime ambassador. After her recovery, Lyudmila was sent on a goodwill tour to the United States, Canada, and the United Kingdom. She became the first Soviet citizen to be received by a U.S. president, meeting Franklin D. Roosevelt at the White House. Eleanor Roosevelt, impressed by Lyudmila's bravery and character, accompanied her during several events, forming a lasting friendship. Her speeches and impact. During her American tour, Lyudmila delivered powerful speeches that called for the opening of a second front to relieve pressure on Soviet forces. One of her most famous moments came when she addressed critics in Chicago who questioned whether women could fight. Gentlemen, I am 25 years old and I have killed 309 fascist invaders by now. Don't you think, gentlemen, that you have been hiding behind my back for too long? Her sharp words underscored the urgency and sacrifice of the Soviet effort and helped shift public perception, recognition and honors. Lyudmila Pavlichenko's contributions were recognized with numerous awards, including the prestigious title of Hero of the Soviet Union, the highest honor bestowed by her country. She also received the Order of Lenin and several campaign medals. Retirement and legacy. Later life and contributions. After World War II, Lyudmila completed her education and worked as a research assistant for the Soviet Navy. She continued to contribute to military training programs, using her experience to instruct new generations of snipers. Her life after the war was quieter, but she remained a symbol of resilience and patriotism. Marriage and family life. Lyudmila eventually married a fellow veteran, whose name remains lesser known in historical records. The couple had a son, who followed a civilian career path. Details about her descendants are not widely documented, but some reports suggest they continue to reside in Russia or Ukraine. Wealth and final years. Lyudmila's life was never marked by significant wealth. She lived modestly, supported by her military pension and her work in academia. In her later years, health problems began to take a toll, exacerbated by the injuries and stress she endured during the war. Lyudmila passed away on October 10, 1974, in Moscow, then part of the Soviet Union. She left behind a legacy not measured in material wealth but in the indelible mark she made on military history. One lesser known but deeply moving story from Lyudmila Pavlichenko's life centers on the camaraderie and profound emotional bonds she shared with her fellow soldiers. Amid the brutality of war, These relationships were not just essential for survival but also provided a glimmer of humanity in the darkest times. The story of Ivan and the final farewell. While stationed in Sevastopol, Lyudmila developed a close friendship with a fellow sniper named Ivan. They shared many long nights on the front lines, hidden in their sniper nests, where silence was essential. But a simple glance or a reassuring nod spoke volumes. Ivan, who had a sharp wit and an optimistic outlook, often whispered stories about his life back home, dreaming aloud of returning to his family and starting anew after the war. One fateful day, during an intense battle, Ivan was fatally wounded while protecting Lyudmila from an enemy counter-sniper. Despite the chaos around them, Lyudmila cradled him as he lay dying. His last words were a request for her to stay strong and continue fighting. Not just for him but for all the comrades who had given their lives. This moment solidified Lyudmila's resolve and became a turning point in her career. It transformed her sense of duty from patriotic to deeply personal. After Ivan's death, Lyudmila carved a small mark on her rifle stock, a discreet tribute to her fallen friend. This rifle, which she used throughout the war, held several such marks, each representing someone who had been part of her journey but had not survived to see victory. This poignant, hidden detail of her rifle was a testament to the emotional burden she carried, one that never left her even as she became a symbol of Soviet heroism. The emotional weight behind her advocacy. During her post-injury goodwill tour in the US, there was an incident where a reporter asked her what it felt like to kill so many people. Lyudmila's initial reaction was stoic. But later, away from the crowds, she reportedly confided in Eleanor Roosevelt about the true psychological toll of being a sniper. She spoke of the sleepless nights haunted by the faces of those she had targeted, especially the enemy snipers who were once like her, young, trained soldiers following orders. This moment, away from the public eye, revealed a softer, more conflicted side of Lady Death, illustrating that behind every decorated hero, there lies a deeply human struggle. These stories, not often highlighted in mainstream accounts, show that Lyudmila Pavlichenko's legacy was built not only on her impeccable skill but also on the weight of loss, loyalty, and the emotional scars of war. This complex narrative makes her life story all the more compelling and resonates with the profound cost of being a hero in the heat of battle. Her final resting place. Lyudmila Pavlichenko was laid to rest at the WWII cemetery in Moscow, a resting place for many of Russia's most distinguished citizens.